Although we've previously discussed the rigorous scientific method employed by two brilliant Macedonian scholars, Aristotle Tentov and Tome Borshevsky, to decipher the middle text of the Rosetta Stone as an ancient Macedonian Slavian language, it's worth revisiting their groundbreaking approach. Many are still questioning the validity of their results, so let's take a moment to summarize it once more. These two Macedonian academics meticulously followed the scientific method, ensuring their results were as objective and unbiased as possible. Their first step was to critically examine the irregularities and flaws in the conventional interpretation of the middle text as ancient Egyptian. It was through this careful scrutiny that they developed a bold hypothesis. What if the middle text wasn't Egyptian at all, but entirely different language? With this hypothesis in mind, they set to work on deciphering the script. However, their approach was anything but rushed. They began by categorizing the symbols with precision, organizing them into a coherent system. Once this was done, they moved on to the task of wiring the symbols for sounds. Operating under the assumption that the script was syllabic, they first matched symbols that resembled modern letters such as J, O, U, I, and others to their corresponding sounds. But their investigation didn't stop there. With careful attention to detail, they examined symbols that were visually similar to those already mapped to sounds, and through a process of trial and error, they began linking these new symbols with their closest phonetic counterparts. For example, once they identified a symbol that represented the sound k, they found another symbol that closely resembled it in form and paired it with the Macedonian ch. They followed this method rigorously, pairing n with ny, ch with sh, and so on, gradually revealing a linguistic system. The next major breakthrough came when they realized that certain symbols, both asymmetrical and symmetrical, carried consonant sounds, and depending on their rotation, vowels were attached to them, forming full syllables. As their work progressed, the scholars found themselves on the edge of a truly thrilling discovery, namely ligatures. These were symbols placed on top of one another, and to their amazement, they revealed a word that was never written out. For instance, the ligatures produced the word na, meaning on, because a ligature is nothing but a symbol on top of another symbol. The scholars deciphered that when the syllable ve was placed on top of she, it reads as nashive, which in modern Macedonian translates to ours. The deeper they dug, the more they uncovered, each new discovery further confirming their hypothesis. What followed was nothing short of astonishing. Words from both modern and ancient Macedonian, along with terms from across the Slavian world, began to surface. Their findings led them to conclude that the language in the middle text closely resembled the modern Macedonian language. In their readings, they unearthed long-forgotten Macedonian words, such as ve meaning creation or creator, ze for sunlight, ze for light, ho for field, or city, and others. Many of these ancient terms continue to exist in modern Macedonian, adding further depth and meaning to the modern language. The scholars also found pictographs from the Slavian world that further illuminated their discoveries, symbols like the 3 vertical lines representing God, and the very same pictograph used by Egyptians for snake. All of these elements came together to form a masterpiece of linguistic analysis, making one of the most groundbreaking discoveries in centuries. In a nutshell, what our 2 Macedonian academics did is monumental, in that while using the rigorous approach in following the scientific method, they first categorized the symbols, then they wired them for sounds, and lastly words emerged, uncovering sentences and paragraphs that were always within the socio-religious context of the very time the Rosetta Stone was created. Now, in the video that you see on the screen, the amount of parallels are presented between the Middle Macedonian and the lowest Koyne Greek, first rows respectively, additionally confirming the objectivity and validity of the decipherment of the middle text of the Rosetta Stone as Ancient Macedonian Slavian text. Feel free to click on the video now if you haven't watched it, as it discusses the first row parallels between these 2 languages, or click in the link in the description. What will blow your mind in this video is the continuous appearances of parallels, leaving even the most hardcore skeptic astonished and questioning their long-held beliefs about the identity of the ancient Macedonians and Slavians for that matter. First, let me present the English translation of the second row from the lowest Koyne Greek text, dating from 1871, made by Samuel Sharp. It reads, Ites, son of Ites, being priest of Alexander and of the gods, Soteres, which are gods of safety or salvation, and of the gods Adelphi, which means brothers and companions, and of the god Epiphanes, and of the gods Philopatores, and of the god Epiphanes most gracious. Pyrrha, the daughter of Philinus, being prize-bearer of Bernice Euregetis. Area, the daughter of Diogenes, being basket-bearer of Arsinoe Philadelphus. Irene, the daughter of Ptolemy, being priestess of Arsinoe Philopator. On the 4th day of the month Xanthicus, which means yellow, on the 18th day of the Egyptian month Meher, a decree. The high priests and the prophets and those who enter the sanctuary on the robing of the gods and the pterophorai and the sacred scribes and all the other priests assembled at Memphis from the temples of the kingdom of Ptolemy Immortal, beloved by Ptah, god Epiphanes most gracious, which he received from his father, being assembled in the temple of Memphis on the day aforehad declared. In essence, the text records a religious ceremony or a declaration with a specific focus on the roles and duties of priests and other religious figures in a Ptolemaic temple setting. The references to multiple gods suggest a syncretic religious atmosphere, blending Macedonian and Egyptian influences. More than 90% of this Koyne Greek text is paralleled in the Middle Macedonian text. Let's see what the ancient Macedonians wrote before we break it down parallel by parallel. The sung wishes, or the sung desire, is also a young bull of his master, of his father, belongs to the great mother of the most beautiful heavenly city, our glory, or our young moonlight. A young soul he is made, the firstborn of the master of Ptah, or Jupiter, or Be, the god of all, and the light of our hot young sons, the Macedonians. He has poured life to above, where he is Sotiris, or god of safety or salvation. Here, glorified in stone, and our young souls Hovooti, or belonging to god of literacy and war, the scribes belonging to god Ho, the children of the most divine, which is Alexandra, or Arsinoe, who marvels at the god of the one from whom she is named after, Arsinoe Philopator, the god of all, or the priestess of the most divine, Alexander, of all our people, the Macedonians, of that divine land that sows the children of the Great Mother, which are the Macedonians, of the most beautiful heavenly city, of our young moon, the children of the hero eternal, of the Adelphi. The sung desires of the children of the Great Mother, or of the Macedonians, from the most beautiful celestial field, our glory, God of all the children of our brightest name, of the Pharaoh, the most living, most eternal, he who marvels at the Great Mother, a stony field for our gathering is the Great Mother, for she is our eternal shepherd, called the beautiful necklace ornament of the Egyptians. All of our gods adore her, all of our gods adore her. Oiling children of the Great Mother too, the Macedonians adore her too. The daughter of the god of the new moon, the Great Mother, of the god of this one whom these, the Pharaoh and his daughter, worship. Of my gods she is called, she is of our goddess Ho, a young soul, goddess of war, of victory, literacy, or Bernice. She bears our best name of this god of all, of the Pharaoh. She bears the name of the divine who is the song desires, the Pharaoh, that daughter of the Great Mother of all, of the worshipped god of this Pharaoh. To this one, who bears the name of the glorious, mystical, created young soul, the Pharaoh, in the home of the Great Mother, that daughter of the living one, the one who admires the Great Mother, or Irene, is the first prophetess, and is a priestess of the most divine, who marvels at the god, who bears the name of this god of the Pharaoh, which is Arsinoe Philopator, the first created glorious soul of the Master, on the upper land at Alexandria, in the month Meher in Egyptian, is the 18th, and to all our priests it is the 4th, announced in advance. All the children of the all-seeing God, or the prophets, and the child priests who are to this greatest priestess, protector, shepherd of the temple, announce in advance, as is the desire of the Great Mother on this stone, from the most beautiful heavenly field of the new moon, these children of hers who rush into where the upper soul is among the gods of the children, enter in my homes of the earth, the most valued homes on this earth, who enter the sanctuaries of my children, of the Macedonians, of the children of the living Danaan priests, or the Hellenic priests, called by my people, by the Macedonians, the god Li, or the god of renewal, or Osiris, of the glorious young bulls of the Macedonians. Then the text continues with the 5th row, which is a subject for a different video. Macedonians proved worthy of honoring their ruling by having such amplified adornance of their rulers and gods and their place as rulers really. This is noticeable in the expanded version of the Koyne Greek texts, which is the Middle Macedonian text. To fully appreciate the parallels, we will now dive deep into explaining each parallel independently. We're talking about 13 parallels in all. Number 1. Koyne Greek. It has Itis, son of Itis, being priest of Alexander and of the gods. Ancient Macedonian has Shemo, naibojena nashei, seki na bojena, ia, na meseyei detsamo, naikopomeze. In English, it reads, "The priest of the Most Divine of Alexander the Great, of all of our people, the Macedonians, that divine land that sows the children of the Great Mother from the most beautiful heavenly city of our new moon." Shemo consistently carries the meaning of priest, making us wonder if the word shaman actually has its root through the ancient peoples of Eastern Europe, maybe to a time when the world spoke close to one language. Also, we discover the Macedonian name, or one of the nicknames, of what the world now knows as Alexander the Great, and that is Naibojen, which means even in modern Macedonian the same, the most divine. Macedonians here also mention their motherland, Macedonia, by referring to it as that divine Ia, or land. Worthy of mentioning is that my conviction is that most country names that end in Ia, like Serbia, Albania, Bosnia, Croatia, Slovenia, Russia, Italia, etc., actually have the ancient Macedonian word land, Ia, in their endings. Similarly, how Western European countries' names have the word land in their names, like Finland, England, Iceland, Greenland if you wish, etc. Nevertheless, we have a direct parallel where the high priest of Alexander himself is mentioned. Number 2. Koyne Greek text has soteres, means safety or salvation. The parallel of this word in the ancient Macedonian text is venalea jeveto vo pa, viginalea životi venagore, in modern Macedonian. Or in English, it would read, "He pours your lives to the heavens." This means that the pharaoh, Ptolemy, is the one who regulates the lives of men, something that is also mentioned in the first row of the Koyne Greek text as well. You can check this in the video that we have in the description. This also means that he gives life and salvation by reserving a place in heaven to all men, as a sun god himself, or he is the savior, soteres, of his people. Number 3. Koyne Greek has N of the gods Adelphi, which means brothers or companions of the pharaoh. Ancient Macedonian parallel has Yenako vkeven deca. In modern Macedonian it reads Deca na Yunako dvekoven. In English, the people of the hero eternal, or companions of the pharaoh. Parallel number 4. Koyne Greek text has N of the gods Epiphanes, N of the gods Philopatores. Ancient Macedonian parallel Naije venu, toye bogomodiveyei, naitse, naiseeme, jeliu paito. Modern Macedonian would read Naijiveniot, toikoi se divina bogot mo, naitsenetiot, od naisemestvoto, koje ispeanite želbi na narodot. In English, it would read, "The most living, he who adores the god Mo, or the Great Mother, the most honored, which means Epiphanes, from the most honorable family, which is another word for Eucharist, another title of Ptolemy. The sung wishes could connect to Philopater." Here we have the full Macedonian name of Ptolemy Epiphanes Eucharist, 100% corresponding with the actual meaning of all of the titles of Ptolemy. Parallel number 5. Koyne Greek text has Pyrrha, the daughter of Philinus, being prize-bearer of Bernice Euregetis, Areia, the daughter of Diogenes, being basket-bearer of Arsinoe Philadelphus. Ancient Macedonian text parallel has Nadeti I Shemoi na Denaive Jeive. In Macedonian would read I na decata na sveštenicite na Danaive živi. For our English-speaking friends, and to the children of the Danaans or the Hellenes that are alive. Interestingly enough, here the Macedonian text doesn't spend much time in naming these children or these followers or servants, as the order is given to them, so they are named in the lowest Koyne Greek text, thus they will know which person exactly is assigned a certain role. However, Bernice Euregetis is mentioned in Macedonian language, her being married to Ptolemy III, a forefather of the living Ptolemy V at the time of the Rosetta Stone. She is mentioned as Bogomoi naze vogonye nashte bogohoyebe. Bernice, which means bringer of victory. So, in English, this title, so to speak, would read, My gods call her our goddess Ho, our young soul. Ho, as mentioned, was the goddess of war and victory, literacy and wisdom, precisely aligning with the meaning of Koyne Greek Bernice, bringer of victory. Parallel number 6. Koyne Greek text has Irene, the daughter of Ptolemy, being priestess of Arsinoe Philopator. Ancient Macedonian text has Navio mojeimo boveze ze prva ronimo navio moca na dočuju ževenu toj bogomodivejei. A šemo najbože na dive bogo navio mojeimo boveze prv naveveto. This would translate as, to this one who bears the name of the glorious or mystical created young soul, or bears the name of the pharaoh, in the home or the sanctuary of the Great Mother, that daughter, word for daughter is actually docha, a word still used in the Russian language, of the living one, or of Ptolemy, pharaoh, the one who admires the Great Mother, is the first prophetess. This is Irene, and is a priestess of the most divine, which is Alexandra Arsinoe, who marvels at the god, who bears the name of this god of the pharaoh, the first made glorious soul of the master. This is Arsinoe Philopator, who bears the name or one of the nicknames of the pharaoh, Philopator. The text mentions Arsinoe in connection of her carrying one of Pharaoh's titles. So, we have Deca najbožena dive bogo na vio mojeimo, najkopomeze poveze prv na veveto na bogo se. In English, this would read, the children, the followers of the most divine, which is Alexandra or Arsinoe, who worships the god of this one, who bears the name, the god of all, from the most beautiful heavenly city, my glory, first created young soul, belonging to the master, the god of all. Arsinoe Philopator is mentioned as the one who carries the name of the pharaoh, and this tome doesn't hold back in adding extended epithets to the pharaoh himself, actually overshadowing Arsinoe. Parallel number 7. Koyne Greek text has, on the 4th day of the month Xanthicus, which means yellow, on the 18th day of the Egyptian month Meher. The Ancient Macedonian text has, Pa ia ye meye osunaeset, Nasijeca Nashve 4. In modern Macedonian reads Na gorната земја, месецот меје е 18, а на сите наши жреци, гледачи, е 4. This is very interesting because here we have corresponding dates. The Egyptian month Meher is mentioned in the Ancient Macedonian language as Meye, and we have the 18th day, but also the corresponding Macedonian days mentioned as the 4th, which also corresponds with the Koyne Greek text. Very intriguing is that the actual symbols used for number 4 in the Ancient Macedonian text are the letters I and V in this order. Mainstream acknowledges that most of the Latin words are taken from Koine Greek, but it wouldn't be a far-fetched idea now to say that some of them may have been taken from the Ancient Macedonian language as well. Parallel number 8. Koine Greek and Ancient Macedonian. We see the word naive. If we were to think in modern terms, in modern Macedonian it means nayavi, which to our English-speaking friends would read just as the text we find in the Koine Greek portion, and that is, on the day aforehead declared. Parallel number 9. Koine Greek text has the high priests and the prophets. Ancient Macedonian text has Naive Yese decamo bogodze I decamo shemoi Ye nashitya ye voi shemolna. Modern Macedonian reads Najavi Sите деца на Богот што гледа се, сите пророци и децата свештеници кои се на оваа најголема свештеничка, заштитничка пастир на храмот, of Irene. Irene, being the most important in this text, is mentioned in Maximutive as Shemolna, similar like the mentioning of the pharaoh as superior to others with the word Mojoilna perf in the first row in our previous video, which would translate as prime manliness ili Majovina prva. Hence Shemolna would mean prime priestess. To summarize this parallel, it means announce in advance all the children of the all-seeing God or all the prophets, and the child priests who are of this prime priestess protector shepherd of the temple, of Irene. So, here we have the high priest and the prophets paralleling the mentioning in the Koine Greek text. Parallel number 10. Koine Greek text has, and those who enter the sanctuary from the temples of the kingdom of Ptolemy Immortal. Ancient Macedonian parallel reads Najelu, Shito, Naizea, Mo, Naikopo Meze, Deca Voi Ito, Najebo, Pa Bogovi Decamo, A Moj Naroia, Najce Naroia, Decamo, Najževenu, Toja Bogomo Divejei. In modern Macedonian it will read Најави, како што е желбата на големата мајка на Каменов, од најубавото небесно поле на младата месечина, овие деца неизини што итаат каде што е најдушата горна кај боговите на децава, и покојниот, во моите домови на земјата, најценетите домови на земјата, во светилиштата, на моите деца, на македонците, најживиот, тој кој се диви на Богот Мо, на големата мајка. In English, it translates to announced in advance, as is the wish of the Great Mother in this stone, from the most beautiful celestial field of the new moon. These children of hers who rush or who enter where the Most High Soul is among the gods or the deceased one, these children, in my homes on the earth, the most precious home on the earth, or in the sanctuaries of my children of the Macedonians. Again, we have direct parallels with the Koyne Greek text by mentioning the actual action of entering the sanctuaries. Macedonians here expanded on this by connecting this action as the will of the Supreme Goddess herself, shattering any doubts of the seriousness of this deed. Also, Ptolemy Immortal is mentioned as the most living, he who admires the god or the greatest mother. Parallel number 11. Koyne Greek text has, and the pterophorai, and the sacred scribes. Pterophorai meaning the ones that carry the feathers for the sacred scribes. Ancient Macedonian parallel, I bemo vo ho voto. In English, and our young souls belonging to god Ho or Hovoti. This is, I believe, where hoplite comes from, the god of war, Ho, or the goddess rather. Time and time again, we are witnesses of the continuity in the meaning of certain words like be, which is young souls, and Ho, the god or the goddess of war and literacy, or the god of the scribes. Hence, Hovoti are actually the scribes mentioned in the Koyne Greek text. Parallel number 12. The Koyne Greek text has beloved by Ptah. Ancient Macedonian parallel has Boveze perf naveveto. In English, it means firstly created young son soul of the god Ve, the master. The texts on the Rosetta Stone are well known to contain content that refers to deities by their functionalities and capabilities rather than their names. Hence, here the pharaoh in the Macedonian Middle Text is presented as a young soul created by Ve or Val. But in the lowest Koyne Greek text, the deity that creates soul is Ptah, hence the parallel. Lastly, parallel number 13 in the Greek Koyne text, we have which he received from his father. Ancient Macedonian parallel is Iejen gospodarvo sua, or in modern Macedonian Iejun, Iejunec, mladenec, na gospodarot svoj, na faraonot pred nego. The English language reads, and he is junior or offspring of his own master, the pharaoh before him, insinuating that he receives everything his predecessor had. The deciphering of the middle text of the Rosetta Stone as an ancient Macedonian Slavian language by Aristotle Tentov and Tome Boshevsky showcases numerous compelling parallels with the lowest Koyne Greek text, presenting an objective and scientifically rigorous method to validate their findings. Through detailed categorization and symbol-to-sound matching, the scholars uncovered the Middle Text's resemblance to the modern Macedonian language, revealing ancient words still in use today. Their discovery highlights linguistic connections, including terms such as he, or the pharaoh, pours the life of the people to the heavens, which means savior or soteres, and the Macedonian word ve for creator, alluding to Vaal or ancient Baal deity, and the shared symbolism of gods in rituals across cultures. Further investigation into the Koyne Greek text reveals direct linguistic parallels to the Macedonian text, such as Naibogen, where the most divine, the actual Macedonian name of Alexander the Great. References to the god Mo, or the Neolithic Great Mother that carries herself throughout the Bronze Age. And titles like Epiphanes, matching Macedonian epithets from Ptolemy like from the most honorable family. The scholar's work, marked by precision and scientific integrity, challenges traditional views of the ancient world, shedding new light on Macedonian identity, the continuity of its language, and its influence on surrounding cultures. The overwhelming evidence from the revelation of ancient words still alive in today's Macedonian language to the uncanny alignment of religious and cultural references makes it impossible for even the most staunch doubter to deny the authenticity of their findings. This is not just academic work, it's a monumental shift in how we understand the ancient world, one that will leave even the most skeptical minds astonished and questioning their long-held beliefs. No longer can skepticism hold its ground against the clarity and brilliance of this deciphering. The truth is simply too loud to ignore.